What's going on, YouTube? And welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy, Kevin Forte. And today, we have a trade for you guys. We are breaking news as the Washington Capitals, the Minnesota Wild, and the Boston Bruins have completed a three-team trade. A pretty massive one here in the Eastern Conference. Definitely going to change the way of the Eastern Conference playoff look for one specific team, and we are going to take a look at that today. So to go over the exact trade, the Boston Bruins acquire Garnet Hathaway, Andrei Svetlikov, and Dmitry Orlov. The Minnesota Wild acquire a fifth-round pick in 2023 from the Boston Bruins. The Washington Capitals acquire Craig Smith, a 2023 first-round pick, a 2024 third-round pick, and a 2025 second-round pick, all from the Boston Bruins. So let's break down the trade. So let's start off with the Minnesota Wild. Now, the Minnesota Wild, for the second time here before this deadline this season, have traded basically to retain 25% of a salary. The Wild have taken on two fifth-round picks. Now, this is a weird one here for the Minnesota Wild, as they are taking $2.5 million for a fifth-round pick. Now, again, that isn't the actual payout, which is $2.5 million, but whatever is 25% left of the deal on his contract, Dmitry Orlov's deal, will be paid by the Minnesota Wild. So they pick up another fifth-round pick. Very odd move here, once again, by Bill Guerin and the Minnesota Wild, as it really seems like they are selling at this deadline. A very weird trade, and just kind of sticking the finger up at his team here. Very odd that the Wild are making this move for the second time in the past 2 weeks. So my thoughts on the Wild are they're just continuing to sell. I'm not really sure what they're doing here, to be completely honest with you. For the Washington Capitals, they pick up the remainder of Craig Smith's contract. He's making $3.1 million, and this is the final year of his deal. He will be finishing out his career, potentially finishing out his career in D.C. with the Capitals. I think that was a tough thing for the Bruins and their locker room, because he was a good locker room guy, and I think they were trying to do everything they could to keep him around. It just wasn't in the cards. They also pick up a first, second, and third round pick here over the next couple of seasons. They pick up a first round pick in this draft from the Bruins, a second round pick in 2025. So 3 drafts from now, they pick up a second round pick and a third round pick next year. Honestly, the Capitals got a pretty good haul here for Dmitry Orlov, who is a pending UFA, and Garnet Hathaway. Yes, he is a very good player, but all things considered was more of just a sweetener, so they could get a really good haul. This is not a bad trade for the Capitals. I know Capitals fans are upset with the deal. Hathaway is a good grinder, tough guy to play against, and fit really well with Tom Wilson. And Dmitry Orlov is a fan favorite. Number 9 has been a part of the Capitals' blue line for a very long time. It's going to be weird seeing him in the black and gold with the pinwheel this weekend. Now, obviously, that leads us to, in my opinion, is the winner of the trade. And that is the Boston Bruins. The Boston Bruins acquire Garnet Hathaway, who is a very underrated piece of this deal, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. He's on the final year of a 4-year deal here with the Boston Bruins. So this will be a UFA rental acquisition, as well as Dmitry Orlov. So Minnesota, because they retained some of his salary, his actual payout in Boston is $1.275 million for the remainder of this season, which is actually pretty good here for the Boston Bruins. They actually fared to the point where they actually saved money in this actual deal with the Boston Bruins and Craig Smith going to Washington. So, in a sense, if you want to think, well, is this it for the Bruins? Because of the fact that there's so many draft picks involved, I would say yes. And you may be wondering, well, why aren't they giving up their second and third round picks in this year's draft? Well, first of all, this is expected to be a deep draft here in 2023. So I think the fact that they already had the stomach giving up their first round pick, they didn't want to give up more than that this year. And a second and third round pick in the next couple of years, yeah, it's not ideal, but at least you don't have to worry about that being a lottery pick at some point. So I think that the Bruins did what they could. They could still make another move here. I don't think they're necessarily done. But with that said, the whole idea of what was a Vladislav Gavrikov trade, I don't know how that's going to work now, because I would assume that the Blue Jackets wanted that 2023 first-round pick from the Bruins. So I wonder if that changes the game for Gavrikov now, as it sounded like there was a deal done and in place for Gavrikov, and at the last minute, the Bruins decided to go elsewhere. Now, it's interesting, too. I remember really this morning, we were hearing that Dmitry Orlov's name was in the trade market and that the Capitals were kind of searching around for what could be available for Dmitry Orlov. And not even 24 hours later, the Boston Bruins go out and make a splash. Obviously, the Bruins, no doubt, unquestionably, win this trade if they win the Stanley Cup here in 2023. Nobody's going to question it. But again, once you get into maybe those prospects and draft picks potentially turning into something, well, that could change the name of the game just a little bit, and maybe to the point where, maybe Washington could end up winning this deal. Minnesota, unless that fifth-round pick turns into a really good player at some point, a really weird deal for them, kind of a head-scratcher, and, shout out to my man Urban, a big Wild fan. I don't know what they're doing here, but it is definitely interesting. This is all I'm going to talk about for now. But honestly, what I really like here, top 4 mobile defensemen going to the Boston Bruins. It didn't cost them Carlo, Grzelcyk, any of those guys. So they just added to what they've already got. Power play defenseman, mind you, as well. He can definitely jump on the power play. Garnet Hathaway is a good penalty killer. He is such a pest, and he is going to be such a great player alongside Brad Marchand. The two of them are going to be a pain in the ass this playoffs for anybody that has to go through the Boston Bruins. Guys, I'm going to talk about this more in my live stream tomorrow night. Guys, make sure to check out our live streams. We have a lot of fun on there, and that is Goal Line Hockey Live, so stay tuned for that. Guys, like I said, as of today, the Bruins win this trade. They win the trade even more if they win a Stanley Cup. But long term, the Capitals have a chance to do something here. I wonder what else is happening for Washington. Are they ready to sell off more pieces? Is this the first domino to fall? They have a lot of defensemen that are UFAs going into this summer. Other than John Carlson, can we see them selling off some of those guys? More than likely, yes. So keep an eye out for the Capitals, as I think this is the beginning of either a full-on rebuild, a full teardown, or a retool. Guys, that's it for today's video. Let me know what you guys think down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.